All right, today we're going to be adding and subtracting polynomials. And I believe you guys won't be in here tomorrow. Is that correct? I don't think you're in here tomorrow. Looking at this email that I had open before. Tuesday, block 2 testing, 10th grade reading. So I think you guys are taking your reading test tomorrow and again on Thursday. So tomorrow I got my block 2. So I'll see you guys today, and I'll see you Wednesday, and I'll see you Friday. If you're not testing tomorrow, I think you go to the auditorium or something like that. So maybe study guide on Wednesday, quiz on Friday, because we didn't even take a quiz last week. So if I'm reading that correctly. All right, so adding and subtracting polynomials is just like adding and subtracting any other fraction. The key point being that you need a common denominator when you add or subtract the numerators. So let's start off with something like we got x plus 1 over x minus 1. And we're going to add to it negative 2 over x squared minus x. Now, probably one of the most important things about adding and subtracting polynomials is finding a way to keep your work organized and neat. The work isn't necessarily difficult, but there's a lot of steps involved. So in this case, the first step here is to factor these denominators so that they're both in simplest form. This x minus 1 is already in simplest form. This x squared minus x, you could factor an x out of it, and you would have x minus 1. So now, if this messes with your eyes, you can scratch it out, because this is your new denominator. Now, both of your denominators have an x minus 1 in them, but the denominator on the left doesn't have the x outside the parentheses. So if we add... Okay. Okay. So if the denominator on the left doesn't have the x outside of the parentheses, it's the same as multiplying, or we're going to add it. So when we put the x in the denominator on the left, to keep the fraction the same, we have to put it in the numerator as well. All right. So now we have two fractions with the same denominator. This fraction on the left will make it look a little cleaner here. So here's our denominator on the left. Here's our denominator on the right. Our numerator on the left, we're going to take x times x, and we're going to get x squared. And we're going to take x times the 1, and we get positive x. So now we can get rid of all this. So here's where we're at. We got two common denominators, and we got these numerators that have been simplified. So now you can take this x squared plus x, and you can add the negative 2 to it. So what you get is x squared plus x minus 2. This denominator just moves over. All right, and you only move one of them because it's your common denominator. So the x times x minus 1 just moves over. So your next step here is to simplify the numerator. This numerator simplifies to x plus 2 times x minus 1. And now what you got are these x minus 1s will cancel out. And you are left with x plus 2 over x. All right, I'm going to do another one. We've got x over x squared minus 4 plus 1 over x plus 2. All right, I'm going to factor this denominator on the left, and it factors to x plus 2 times x minus 2. So we're done with this. The denominator on the right doesn't have an x minus 2 in it. All right, so here's what we got to do. We got to multiply by x minus 2 and x minus 2. So your fraction on the left is all done. Your fraction on the right can be written as this 1 times the x minus 2, and 1 times x minus 2 is just x minus 2. The denominator becomes x plus 2 times x minus 2. So now that both denominators are the same and the numerators are simplified, you can add. So in the numerator, you've got an x plus x minus 2. So the x plus x is 2x. And you don't have a number to add to this negative 2, so the negative 2 comes over. In the denominator, we've got x plus 2 times x minus 2. And now there's a little bit of factoring left to do on the top. This numerator, 2x minus 2, can factor to 2 times x minus 1. And now these x actually nothing cancels here, so here's what we're left with. We're left with 2 times x minus 1 over x plus 2 times x minus 2. And if you're asked to state any restrictions, okay, any restrictions would be values for x that would give you a 0 in the denominator at any point throughout the problem. So in this case, your restrictions would be a negative 2 or a positive 2. So x cannot equal a negative 2 and x cannot equal positive 2. Either of those values would give you a 0 in the denominator, and that's not allowed. All right, so let's do another addition problem. Let's go with x over x minus 1 All right, so here we go. First thing we're going to do here is we're going to find or get a common denominator. So we're going to factor this denominator on the right, and that's going to factor to x. Oh, what's this going to be? X minus 1 times x minus 2. Now, the fraction or the denominator on the left already has the x minus 1 in it, so it needs the x minus 2 in it. So on this left-hand side, we multiply the denominator by x minus 2 and the numerator by x minus 2. We simplify the numerator. All right, x times x is x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. All right, so now that our denominators are the same, numerators are simplified, we can add. So we've got an x squared plus, there's nothing to add to the x squared. We've got a negative 2x plus a 2x. That would result in a 0. And we have nothing, or 0 plus negative 1, which would be negative 1. In the denominator, we've got the x minus 1 times x minus 2. And we're going to factor this numerator again, and it's going to factor to x plus 1 times x minus 1. So this can go away. And now these two x minus 1s will cancel each other out. And we're left with x plus 1 over x minus 2. With your restrictions being x not equal to 2 and x cannot be equal to 1. And remember, your restrictions are any values for x that would give you a 0 in the denominator at any step throughout the problem. You can't have a 0 in the denominator. All right. We're going to move over and do a little bit of subtraction now. So let's take a look at x plus 3 over x minus 2. And we're going to subtract from it 6x minus 7 over x squared minus 3x plus 2. All right, so we're going to factor this denominator on the right, and it's going to factor to x minus 2 times x minus 1. Very similar to the last problem. The denominator on the left is missing the x minus 1, so we're going to multiply by the numerator and denominator by x minus 1. Now, this numerator has got to be multiplied. X minus 1 times x plus 3 is x squared minus 2x minus 3. I'm sorry, plus 2x. That would be if we did the distributive property twice and combined like terms. Because remember, your factors, they multiply to the negative 3 and they add to the term in the middle. So negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. So now denominators are the same. Numerators are simplified. We can subtract. So you're going x squared minus 0x squared would be x squared. You got 2x minus 6x, negative 4x. You have negative 3 minus negative 7. Negative 3 minus negative 7. Negative 3 minus negative 7. That's keep, change, change. That would be equal to a positive 4. All of this, our denominator comes over, and our denominator is x minus 2 times x minus 1. Now we go back and we simplify this numerator on the right. We factor it, and it factors to x plus 2 times x minus 2. This can go away. And these x minus 2's will cancel with each other. And what we're left with in the numerator is an x plus 2. And in the denominator, an x minus 1. And again, the restrictions, x cannot be equal to 1. X cannot be equal to 2. Morning. Y'all get the idea? Process is kind of the same, right? Find a common denominator, adjust one of the fractions so that you have a common denominator, simplify the tops, add or subtract the tops, simplify again. All right, so if there aren't any questions, your practice for today is page 539. Uh, 11 through 19. Usual, it's going in the basket, or you're emailing me a picture. I don't know if you guys are checking your school calendar, but today is the first day of spring term 4, and you guys have 4 weeks of school left. Your last day of school is June 3rd. That's a month from today. So 1, 2, 3, 4.5 weeks left. 4.5 weeks of school left. So e-learners, you're excused to go complete the assignment if you don't have any questions. And no Zoom meeting tomorrow. I won't have this first block class tomorrow. So no Zoom meeting tomorrow. We will resume Zoom. Get it? Resume Zoom on Wednesday.